not test subjects. We as parents should never have been blindsided by the content of the ideologically driven pilot program. The district should have been transparent and upfront with their plans, including a description of the content material. In addition, the level of dominance of one idea or hegemony should have been eliminated, and multiple resources presenting various opinions in order for students to develop key critical thinking skills should have been provided. In short, my question to the school board is, what will the school board and the district do to be transparent with parents regarding all curriculums and pilot programs the district is testing with our students? And second, how will the school board and district design curriculum to reduce the amount of one-sided views being presented in classes with an ideological agenda? Thank you for your time.
Okay, Michelle, and then I think Danielle White did not make it. So Michelle, and then Mike Henderson.
Hey. My name is Michelle McDevitt. I have 3 kids who have all been part of the Ben Lapine School District at one point or another over the last 11 years. Why are you masking our kids? If it's to prevent the spread of SARS-CoV-2, a simple web query may lead you to numerous studies showing that mask mandates have not been very effective in preventing the spread of SARS-CoV-2, because here we are. And most children do not get severely ill from SARS-CoV-2. The infection fatality rate is 0.05 in persons under the age of 70. Children fail to learn social cues and phonics from their muzzled peers and teachers. But what I really want to get across to you is what a web search may not tell you. The psychological impact of masks and shuttering schools has been devastating. Google can't show you the panic in a parent's eyes when their children pass out and nearly die from mask wearing, which has happened here in Central Oregon. A Google search can't show you a parent's heartbreak because their child was one of the 60+ kids in Oregon who have committed suicide in the past 18 months. A web search also can't show you the daily tears in my 3rd grader's eyes when forced to stay home, away from her teacher, her friends, and just plain normalcy. A web search also can't show you my 5th grader's anger over abandoning a year-long project, and panic when she was told she had to mask up, knowing with borderline asthma she wouldn't be able to breathe. Or the sheer disruption of my kids' lives from being shuttered out of athletics and activities. You have a decision to make. We parents know you have been given guidelines which are not laws. Please listen to the hundreds of parents here tonight who have written, called, and asked you to do the right thing. Leave mandatory masks out of Ben Lapine schools this year and going forward. The harmful effects on forcing kids to wear masks and locking them out of schools far outweigh any feel-good factor from parading around with a piece of cotton over your face. The virtue signaling can stop now. We see beyond your charade. Our kids deserve to breathe free and have their lives back. Unmask our kids, open our schools, and return normalcy to their lives.
Thank you. Do you want me to put that one up there? Thanks. Thank you. Hey there.
Right.
You don't look like a Danielle.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah, good. That's what we want up. Yep. Okay, just checking.
All right. Yeah, so Mike Henderson is my name. Basically, regarding the masks, essentially the question I believe we're trying to answer is there enough scientific information supporting the school being able to usurp the patient or the parent's usual medical decision-making authority whether or not they want to have their children wear masks? The answer is no. There are mechanistic studies showing that masks do contain droplets and aerosols, but there are no real-world studies showing the effect of masks in schools and the prevention from one child to the teachers or to the rest of the community. So that's essentially the main point I have here. What we do, so the mechanistic studies, I'm just going to skip that part, so the mechanistic studies themselves are inadequate to justify or recommend any policies regarding masking. Essentially, what you need to know are what's the prevalence of the virus in the community, how large is the room, how many people are in there, how long are you in there, what's the ventilation like, and how long do masks last. Actually, the COVID researcher experts that I can find suggest that cloth masks that children use typically last maybe up to 90 minutes. They certainly don't last longer than 4 hours, and they certainly don't last the whole school day. The other main point I'll end with is Viruses, we do not stop them. This virus, it looks like it's here to stay. You can mask, you can do whatever you want. Eventually, the Delta virus has a R0 of about 6, which is highly contagious. You're gonna get it one way or the other, unless you've been vaccinated. So those are my main points. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, Virginia, thank you for coming over there. And then next up is Aaron, and then Alandra or Janet. We're not that close, but we're within like 5-10 people. Do we have some more names? Okay, cool. All right, go for it, Virginia.
Thank you. Dear board members, my name is Ginny Sackett, and I'm a Bend resident. Thank you for this listening session. I would like to add my voice to the many families voicing their support for the equity work the school board has prioritized. I'm a strong proponent of addressing systemic racism in the district. I support culturally competent curriculum, Black Lives Matter, and integrating extensive and accurate Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and Asian history in the everyday part of our students' learning. We must be inclusive of all. As one who has a doctorate in educational leadership, I also support cultural competency training for our teachers. Furthermore, as a clinical therapist, I am delighted to hear about the Restoration Justice Program being integrated in our school system. The program provides a new way forward for our kids involved in conflict. So school board members, please continue to confront systemic racism and oppression both inside and outside the classroom. I value free choice, but I value community health more. I value the lives of even the most vulnerable members of our community. I value the history and perspective of those who have been marginalized in our community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Aaron, how'd you know? Good. This is number 45, everyone. And then John, you're up, number 46. Go ahead, Aaron.
Thanks. So my name is Aaron Rook, and I use he, him, and they, them pronouns. I'm also very soft-spoken. My name is Aaron Rook, and I use he, him, and they, them pronouns. I work in higher education and as a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. I've provided equity trainings to students and educators in K-12 and college contexts. As I sit and listen to folks' comments, I can't help but to reflect on how easy it can be to give into fear. Fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of pushback, fear of one another. But fear is antithetical to learning. For the sake of the students and educators we serve, I encourage you to remain steadfast in your values and to resist giving into fear. In particular, I urge you to lead the district in being clear, courageous, and accountable, and advocating for LGBTQ+ students, their safety, and their success. Outspoken support is especially important now as lawmakers across the country seek to curtail the rights of LGBTQ students. And while these rights are well protected in the state of Oregon, our students and educators take in the national conversation and see it reflected locally in objections to comprehensive sex ed and LGBTQ inclusive curriculum. While I don't doubt that district leaders care about all of their students, a lack of visible support can be deadly. We know that LGBTQ students are more likely to experience harassment, assault, and to attempt suicide, but also that affirming support can protect students from a host of negative outcomes. However, the historic reluctance of Bend Lapine schools to openly and consistently support LGBTQ students, families, and staff unfortunately serves to reinforce a dangerous false narrative that LGBTQ people are sexual deviants who can't be trusted around children. This hateful stereotype is so pervasive that, despite being an adult and an educator, I don't feel particularly safe in this space as an out LGBTQ person. Fortunately, there are more resources than ever to guide districts in supporting LGBTQ students and staff. But it will take courage and fortitude to show up for these students and employees in the face of the politicization of their identities and experiences. I look forward to the day when LGBTQ students and employees can live, work, and study openly without fearing for their safety or security. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron. Okay, John. Thanks, John. And then Thomas, you're next. Is Thomas here? Okay. So it might be Jennifer after John. Thanks, John.
Hey, how's it going? My name's John Halen. I didn't have time to write up something, so this is gonna just kind of wing it. I just want to say that my dad had polio. It was weird growing up around a parent that had hard use of his legs, and because of it, it took his life early, like most polio victims. I also served in the Peace Corps in West Africa, where I got to live with polio victims, and I fundraised for people that, could get wheelchairs for these people. And I think about the push for vaccination with polio and how we need to have something similar. So I have 2 kids in Ben Lapine, 2 daughters, and yes, they don't like wearing masks, but we understand it's necessary for the protection of the community, so we do it. I also hope that if the vaccine ever gets approved for children, that just like MMR and polio, we mandate that kids have the vaccine to be at school. Now, for the next minute, I'm going to talk about the fact that I think it's ridiculous that we have to talk about that it's okay to teach racism in school. The Civil Rights Act was 1965. There are still people alive today that were throwing tomatoes at Ruby Bridges. I mean, this is not something that's gone away. This is something that's endemic to our society right now. It's built into our very law structure. And as someone who majored in history, it's really frustrating to hear people say that they don't want to learn about history because it makes them uncomfortable. The fact that I had to learn about the Tulsa Massacre on an HBO show is ridiculous. How ridiculous is that? The fact that we have to, we say like, oh, Thomas Jefferson raped his slaves. Yes, that happened. We can't pave that over, and to ignore that is to ignore a whole century and century and century of trauma that other people have experienced and still experience to this day that's built into the very fabric of the society. And so I hope that we keep teaching the proper things to our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Also, way to wrap it up right there. Okay.
Sorry, can I just say one thing?
Maybe 2.
Just really quick.
Wait, no, we have to.
So my mom.
Sorry, we're gonna.
They never shut down schools during polio.
Okay, well, let's. All right, thank you, though. You can tell me later, after. We have more? Yeah, we do. Okay. Thomas was not here, I don't think. Okay, Jennifer Hamilton. How are you, Jennifer? Excellent. We're great. Thanks for being here. Right? That's good. And then Jim Murphy.
Good evening.
You want to step up close? Get real. There you go.
Are we dating now?
Yes, we got
Yeah.
you and Mike. Yeah. That's Mike.
Mike. I thought I lost him.
Okay. Sorry, we already started your time. Go right ahead.
That's all right. What I'm doing is coming and asking for help. I've run into a roadblock. My grandson is going from 7th to 8th, and his skills in math are minimal. How do I get a copy of the curriculum? You don't have textbooks. But if I could get what he was supposed to learn in 7th and what he's going to learn in 8th, hopefully, I can start getting him caught up and then prepared. And I've emailed oh, I'm so nervous. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've emailed the school. He'll be starting at Pilot Butte, and I don't have an answer from there. I called the main office and was referred to the state standards, which are good, but that's not a curriculum. I need problems in a book, please. How do I do that?
How about if I have Scott get your contact information? Scott's right behind me.
Okay.
And we will have someone give you a call tomorrow to talk more.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Is this Jim Murphy?
It is.
Well, hi, Jim Murphy.
Well, hello. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I thought you had a duck shirt on, but it's an eagle. It's a bigger bird.
No. I'm a OSU Beaver. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry for all the Duck fans out there.
all right. You have the floor.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jim Murphy. I'm a former high school biology teacher, both teaching biology and human anatomy. And I would like to bring to the board and the community tonight my concerns for the sex ed program in our schools. Let me start by asking you, the board members, all of you, please, rhetorically, of course, at what age did you teach your children the reproductive parts of the human body? Oh, showed them and explained to your child a penis, a vagina, breasts, nipples, testicles, scrotum, and a uterus? Quite frankly, this old man, including a 26-year Navy veteran, is embarrassed to even ask that question. But we teach that to our 5-year-old children. Yes, our kindergartners learn that in school, and I think this is totally wrong. Well, when did you teach your children the definition of sexual orientation? I hope it was by age 8, because then you would be in step with the state standards. Why would we want our children, your children, to be learning these at this age, or let alone the children that you are elected to protect and educate? If you have bothered to read the state standards on health education, and you can't see that as a steady indoctrination of children to go the way of what someone else thinks is best for them to learn, then I'm baffled. I know as a former teacher, I had a lot of latitude
20.
and influence on what I taught my students. This subject, like many, is best left to parents and how they see fit to raise their children. Put sex ed back in just the high school arena and just the health information that is necessary, not the personal and moral teachings by strangers that is now taking place.
Okay, I'm going to do a time check. So we have now been together for 2 hours, which was the commitment here. We have one more person on the original list, and we have a number of people who we probably have 35 minutes of additional folks. So I'm going to just make an executive decision here. This is huge that everyone is here, and I know you might be hungry, so grab something to eat, but I'm going to make an executive decision, Dr. Cook, that we're going to go for it for half an hour if people need to leave. I need to honor you two and make sure you don't have a commitment at like 6, or what time would that be, 8? Yeah, it's over, we're here. Okay, so thank you to everyone for sticking around, and if you need to leave, this is your chance to sneak out. Courtney Landis, though, is the last one who was signed up early. Everybody else signed up here, which we still want to honor. So Courtney, thank you for coming up.
Hello, I'm Courtney Landis. Basically, most of what I was going to say has been said in one form or another. So I'd just like to say that please don't mandate masks and vaccines for our children, and don't, if we choose not to vaccinate our child, please don't make them have to wear a mask.